it's got to be properly worded. And that means, and that's the attorney, and the attorney has to say, is this a Tabor issue?
I'm going to, okay, you ready now? I'm going to call the meeting to order. Going to welcome everybody that's here today, and we will start with Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
I will call the roll. Niffy.
Present.
Dave Primer.
Here.
I haven't appointed you officially yet, so it's on the agenda, but I'm here. So we have a quorum, and Meredith will be officially welcomed as soon as I go through the agenda. Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Yes,
Okay. Was that Dave?
I said that. Yep.
Yes, okay.
Well, I asked to put on the agenda items, yeah, I sent them to you.
Yeah, they're on there, Dave. You asked for ballot A, it's on there. You asked for the
procedure of the web, to post on the website.
I'm sorry, what did you asked for communication policy?
I asked the procedure to post on the website.
No, I didn't see that in my email.
So it was sent. It was
Okay.
right along with the other one.
5.3 new business.
5.3. Was there something else, Dave?
Nope, that's all.
All right. Are there any conflicts of interest on the board related to any of the agenda items? And I would like to officially welcome our new board members, Meredith, welcome, and Dave. So you're on now. So we definitely have a quorum. What? Yeah. Yeah, this is just the official seating. We did all the paperwork and everybody knows that they're the new board members. I'm looking for a motion approval of the April 20th, 2023 meeting minutes. Motion to approve. Second, anybody?
A second.
Okay, all in favor of approval of the April 20th, 2023 minutes? Aye.
Nay.
And one opposed. Steve's not online? Okay. So that passes. We'll go to the treasurer's report. We've got Chris Creech online. Hi, Chris.
Hello. The treasurer's report, this will be my last one, formally and publicly presented to the community. I have posted all of the reports. They're on the website for anybody that wishes to review them. I don't believe we have the ability to display it as we have previously, so I'll just walk through as I normally do. A few noted items for the period covering May 2023. District spent $9,139. Of that, $1,400 was attributed to LoSAP from 2022, just a delay in a request for payment. So while we're paying it out in May, it was actually a 2022 expense. We had two separate suppression supply expenses that were paid for in May, one for $1,233 and 51 cents, another one for $1,027 and 79 cents. To date, the district has spent $84,956.45. There is budgeted additional $153,977 for spend. We collected revenues of $33,410. $31,772 came from Jefferson County, $1,527 from interest from our reserve account, and we had $110 worth of donations. So thank you very much for that. We have $88,600 expected in additional tax revenue and approximately $10,600, 93 cents will come in from interest income from the reserve account. That could move higher or lower. As you all know, the Fed did not choose to raise interest rates. So that has short-term effects, but it also could change. But we still feel like the interest rate will maintain where it is. So about $11,000 in additional interest income could come in between now and the end of the year. Our statement of financial period, there's a position, we have 423,209 current cash in a total of our bank accounts. Basically, and this is what I want to keep referencing, I want the board to continue to focus on this. I want the community to be aware. We have 165% of 2023 expenditure budget, but more importantly, we currently hold in cash 274% of our future 2023 spend. So the district is in very, very solid financial position, and I just feel like we should always be aware of that as the board makes future thinking decisions. We're well funded. We have money. When you look at our budget versus actuals, again, posted to the website, there's nothing that I'd like to point out. I keep some standard notes in there that budgeted items are averaged. We have some 2022 expenses that carried over into 2023. So some of our categories may show high to date, but that's because we're still sort of paying on some 2022 items. The gas for our facilities balances out in summer months, and there's still some double posting. I don't know how to eliminate that. Basically what's happening is we have a master credit card account. So if one of our credit card holders charges something to their credit card account within their spending limits, it posts to the master account and their individual account, and then that duplicates in QuickBooks. It doesn't duplicate in cash. We don't pay for it 2 times. It's just a QuickBooks reporting related issue, but it doesn't affect our overall cash position. We're working to resolve that. Our accountant, Jennifer Seifert, is continuing to try to figure out how to resolve that. Let's see, there are 2 topics that we have for discussion, or at least one that I want to present to the board, and I believe I've prefaced this in previous meetings. Colorado Trust, for the account that we hold, there is an option of taking the amount of funds that we have and moving them into different sort of investment vehicles. We are currently just simply in a straight money market account that pays average daily balances based on interest. They do have accounts that are geared for a little bit of more long-term investing, where you are basically buying a share of the account. That share value can improve, increase, or decrease, but at the same time, it does earn interest. So there is potential, if we're going to continue to hold such a large amount in reserves, that the board should consider a way to potentially receive additional interest income. I have reviewed it. I personally don't know that it's necessarily worth the process, but the future board and the future treasurer may decide to look at that. I'll gladly talk with them and work them through that. So that is just something that we can either discuss now, or the future treasurer and I can sort of review. Other than that, I just want to thank the community for allowing me to do what I've done for the last several months. It's been a pleasure serving as treasurer, and I look forward to still being a part of the community and helping the board in the future. So with that, I don't know what the actual, and maybe Kyle, you can coach me here. There's a call sign that you guys do when y'all sign off. This is Creech signing out, logging off.
We'll call you Treasurer 82.
Treasurer 82 signing off.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Chief's report is next.
Yes, objection, might use the paper one.
I'm sorry,
Do you want to use the paper one that you got? Just so I don't have to.
A
pull it up.
copy of your report?
Yeah,
Sure,
I can pull it up on here.
I have that.
Perfect, thank you. All right. So we'll try to make it brief. Like I said, it's a little bit of a longer report. We've got a lot of good things going on within the department operationally. Next week is going to be my first week transitioning to the new schedule for the fire chief. So it'll be the week of June 19th. It's going to be flexible each week depending on the district needs, but looking to largely adhere to a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday pattern of coverage for the district to make sure that we're distributing amongst regional meeting demands as well as training demands for the firefighters, and also helping covering that daytime gap that we have in the fire department. So that'll be the normal with accommodations when we have board meetings or other meetings within the region that I need to help attend to represent the district. And then while I'm here in the district, I'm actually going to look at trying to split my time between the two sides of the district, so that during those daytime hours we have coverage at the 81 side and the 82 side. I know that there's concern amongst the community about coverage on the Crawford Gulch side. So spending time over there, I think, is something that's really important for us moving forward, and hopefully bring some activity to that firehouse during the day when it's really needed. There has been a little bit of interest from the firefighters of actually going to 82 during the day to work out or do other activities, and hoping to continue to spur that and encourage that as we move forward. And there's maybe some things actions that we can take as a district to help encourage that, that we're working towards. Regional and county, there's a lot happening on both the regional and the county level that pertains to our fire district. The mountain area fire chiefs are working on some bigger things that have to do with wildland fire interagency agreements. I've talked about this a little bit in previous meetings, but essentially looking at a standard operating guideline that applies to all of the districts within the mountain region of Jefferson County. So we all operate on the kind of the same set of guidelines for interagency. It has to do with, the first operational period, and then kind of the way that we interact with each other and what resources are sent where. It should be a really good document, and also kind of lays the ground rules for that when we have people, when we need help here, and then the way that we send help to them. So we're looking forward to moving forward with that. And we also have been taking input from Jefferson County with that as well. Speaking of Jefferson County, this next week, my first kind of full or a halftime week, is chock full of meetings with regional stakeholders, looking at what we can do for better engage with the county and with the state, and also what they can really bring back to our district as far as resources that we can gain from both them. So meeting with Jefferson County Sheriff's Office Emergency Management, the DFPC's Wildland Division with our Battalion Chief Paul Amundsen, and also the Prevention Division from DFPC. And I'm also looking to hopefully meet with parks here relatively soon, both state and county parks. So we're looking at, like I said, opportunities on both sides where we can engage with them. Operationally, Chief Enright is heading on a really big regional effort to cross-staff apparatus with certified firefighters and squad leaders and engine bosses. So there is a regional problem when we have a fire anywhere in the state and they're calling for resources, and one agency has a truck that can go, but we don't have an engine boss that can go. And one agency has an engine boss that can go, but isn't willing to send a truck, or can't have firefighters that staff that truck. Chief Enright has come up with a very excellent and what has become a pretty well-received idea of a collective communications channel amongst all of the department overheads that say, hey, we're getting this resource request. What can we furnish from each department to put together to send without robbing each district of their entire resources? So it allows us regionally to get people experience, but also allows hopefully each district to be able to have the opportunity to gain revenue by sending apparatus. So we're looking at that collectively so we can continue to be able to participate on that level, and hopefully have financial benefit as well as skill benefit coming to us. On that as well, we've had a couple of people reach out to the department recently who are interested in joining the department operationally, but also to help facilitate them being a single resource deployable asset through Golden Gate, which would allow us to send a line firefighter paramedic to a fire either in California or in Texas or in Montana, but also here regionally. And there may be some billing that is able to come back to the department as far as revenue generation through that, and also facilitates that person going out, getting that experience, and hopefully bringing that and participating with the department in that way. So there's a lot of good things happening on that, and that is a lot of Chief Enright's work coming to fruition there on that. I also attended the regional SDA workshop last week with Deb and Meredith. There was a lot of information in the SDA workshop. It's basically all of the districts, whether it be fire districts, water districts, sanitation districts, have this meeting. They go through all the legalities of being a special district. And then a significant portion is actually attributed to legislative changes that affect special districts. Unfortunately, the book was super thick as far as what is going to affect special districts in the next year, things that were passed by the House. The biggest one that is kind of on the table right now is House Bill 23-303. And it has been widely discussed. It may have significant impact to the district. It essentially is a relief bill for homeowner taxes, property taxes, because of the drastic increase in property tax. That is something that's going to go to the vote of the people in November. And the long and short of what it means for us as a district is that when we come to budget time, we're going to actually have to make two separate budgets for the fire district. We're going to have to make a budget for if it does pass and a budget for if it does not. And what that will look like. And so the thing that's really hard is that we're going to make that budget, and then we won't actually know what our financial impact is going to be until after the election, and then after we actually start receiving revenue in January. So it unfortunately leaves a lot of things hanging in the balance. There is some potential that there would be revenue backfill for our district based on the fact that we're in Jefferson County. And we have some special requirements based off of the fact that we're actually part of a larger county. But we will see how that all comes. It's kind of unfortunately the way that the initial language I think has been written has some of that in there, but the way that it comes back to the district kind of remains to be seen. So it's it's a fingers crossed, hope that we could get some kind of backfill if for some reason our revenue was to be decreased by the House bill passing. But it's really an unknown.
Could I just interject here? The House bill or the HH, which is the one we were just discussing, is the problem that I see with it. It's over 10 years. They want to continue to drop the property values, but it's incremental and it's it's really a tiny percentage. We're going to have excess money or more money than we had last year coming in from the property values, even if it passes. That's my thought. Chris, am I wrong or right? Are you still there?
I'm here. Sorry, I needed to unmute. I think initially we'll be projected to receive additional income because the assessment rate and the valuations have increased. However, the legislation could stabilize it or neutralize it or bring it back to current levels. I do not think, from what I've reviewed, that we're going to see a decrease year over year in revenue. We will have, I believe, some level of increase in tax revenue up to the full amount or somewhere in between. But I do not believe there will be any decrease in our revenue year over year.
I didn't want anybody to panic. Don't panic.
It's a little bit hard. It's a very complicated bill.
It's gonna keep going, yeah.
Yeah, it's a complicated bill. If you guys have read it, the long bill is, I believe, over 80 pages long. And it is very complicated. I know Chris has reviewed it, and it's exceptionally complicated.
What's that number again?
It's the House Bill 23-303.
80 pages to say we're taking more money from.
Kind of. So I mean, to not get into the weeds on this, essentially what they're saying is that they're going to decrease the residential assessment rate. And it'll be like, again, it's progressive. But then they're going to actually decrease the ability for TABOR refunds or eliminate TABOR refunds. So it's essentially, one hand to the other in the way that kind of was, that's at least the way it kind of reads. I mean, it's so complicated to really even understand. how that works. You know, when we sit in this meeting and these are the SDA lawyers are having their, you know, admittedly, we're confused by or having a hard time explaining it. And I think when you have a lawyer who works for special districts who can't explain something like that, that is complicated. It is really that complicated.
There'll be lots of publicity about it.
Yeah. So in general, I think it's just something to keep an ear about, you know, keep an ear to the ground of what may happen with the district. For us, the big thing is that we're going to make two different budgets.
Can I interrupt for one small second? Sorry.
Yep.
I just wanted a quick request. When a member of the audience asks a question, it doesn't articulate through to could you repeat the question before you answer, just so we can make certain we hear it? If audience members ask questions. Thank you.
Perfect. And then I also want to read this into the audio minutes. Chris asked regarding the regional effort for cross staffing, is its possibility that our resources will learn how to use other departments' resources? And the answer is yes. There's other benefits with that in that our firefighters would get exposed to other people's apparatus, other people's operating modes, their SOGs, you know, the ideas that exist in different firefighting entities, and be able to bring that knowledge back. It's a really good way to break up isolation that sometimes happens operationally with fire departments. All right, on to administration. Station 81, community cleanup, was on June 3rd, and it was a gigantic success in my eyes. We had a lot of people helping us, firefighters, community members, auxiliary members. We scrubbed the heck out of that station. We threw away over 10 yards of junk that had come out of that station. We reorganized the office. We cleaned the bays, cleaned the trucks. The trucks got an upgrade and like reorganization for operationally where things went. They got detailed. It's really good. And I also think we got a really good assessment of the needs for the future of that station. And had some really good discussions on what that looks like on the firefighter level and also on the community level. And what, you know, the future desires of what can happen at that station. So that was really awesome. And then we capstoned it by hanging a metal Golden Gate sign on the outside of it. So now you actually can tell it's a fire department from outside. Yeah, so that was a great one. On top of that, so now we have Station 82 coming up next. That is scheduled for July 9th. It is a Sunday. It is a Sunday following the 4th of July holiday. We would love for everyone to come. We're going to try to push a little bit more on advertising, social media, to try to get more community members involved in that one, and give it a little bit more lead time. So we'll actually start this week. I'm trying to put that out there. If you guys have the ability to share with your friends and your neighbors and your family, that we will be having that event at Station 82. We'd love to have people come out. For us, it's a great way for people who are, you know, drive by the fire station all the time to come and say, hey, this is the fire station. This is what, you know, this is what protects my community. Maybe they draw interest from it. There's a lot of people who have no interest in the fire, becoming a volunteer firefighter. They walk in an event like that, or their kid says, hey, I want to go see fire trucks, daddy, because they're sitting outside, or mommy, and they will come up and they say, oh, well, how do I become involved? And they will go and you know, come around and then they start becoming volunteer firefighters. I know quite a few people who have a similar story. And then following 82, we'll do a Station 83 clean, and that's going to be in the month of August. And we're going to coincide the Station 83 clean with essentially what we call Touch a Truck, which is a community event. We'll bring all the apparatus down here, and we'll have kind of a community clean out and then barbecue, a little bit more of a party than a work day, because 83 is not as big. It's not going to require as much time, and really try to hopefully like bring all the people who came together for all the stations, and even if the folks that didn't, and bring them down here to celebrate kind of the cleaning of the stations and the next step forward for the fire department. Let's see here. Both myself and Chief Enright are working to update all of our wildland qualifications and training records. It's called a system is called IQS. It's a critical system for the department for records keeping, both state and nationally. It's really the way that we are able to say to another agency that we have, our firefighters have XYZ certification, even if they go to California or they go to Wyoming or they go to Montana, it all carries with them, but it all has to be input into the system called IQS, and it has not been updated regularly for a while. So we've been working with the state on getting that updated and then having to basically put all of the documentation in that's required, the background documentation, supporting documentation for each certification to support our firefighters and their certifications moving forward.
Was Timberline not doing that for us?
They did some of it, but really predating even, I think, that agreement
Okay.
there, it just hasn't been given that much attention.
Okay.
So it's just, again, it's a big step for us. It's not that unusual for a small department to not have a whole bunch in there. But for us taking that step forward and making sure that we are crossing all T's, dotting our I's, setting our firefighters up for success, it's a really important thing for us to be doing.
Okay.
Also, this is from Chris or from Chief Enright. And we've run 35 calls to date this year, 18 EMS and 17 fire. No notable incidents occurred over May. In the first half of June. I will say actually that there was one notable incident that we spoke about earlier. There was a rollover that had relatively high amounts of local interest due to a lost dog that was gone for about a week. And I think that it sounds like that dog was found today is what I heard. Yeah, from BD, that's correct. So that was a good, a little bit of a bigger call. And I'm really glad that animal survived. It's a great thing for that family. There's been a little bit of a decrease over this year compared to last year for call volume. This is probably because of the wet and rainy season, and it's not just Golden Gate that's seeing this. It's every single fire department, especially in the mountains. I think most regional departments are down anywhere between 20 to 30% of their annual call volume, based off of the last 2 months where things tend to ramp up for the mountain departments. So we just haven't seen that kick up in calls that we normally see. I strongly suspect come next week, when we start to get warm and dry, people are going to have been cooped up and it will start going crazy. And we'll be running quite a few calls, in a smaller time span over the next couple of weeks. Let's see here. Average response time is continuing to decrease. So last month, we decreased it another almost 40 seconds. And then the turnout time is also decreasing. So at the time someone's coming up to speak on the radio and go en route, we're under a minute for our turnout time right now. We're at 44 seconds and our average turnout time for someone to acknowledge a call and go en route, which is really good for any fire department, much less a volunteer fire department. Personnel per call is trending upwards. So we are seeing a lot of our new members going online and actually showing up and running calls. And then there's also been better availability for firefighters in the district over the last month. We have had over the last month 0 counts of mutual aid declined mutual aid. We've been called for mutual aid, I think twice in the last month, and we were able to respond to both and automatic aid. So that's a really big deal for us. And then there has been no calls with 0 personnel from Golden Gate since March. That's another huge deal for us.
Yes.
So we're going to continue on that trajectory as we look to bring on new folks, which we'll talk about here in a second. We have 18 members on the roster, 2 on leave of absence. We're trying to kind of get defined paths forward for the folks who are a leave of absence. So we don't have people sitting in limbo anymore. There's been a little bit of a habit, I think, of that, and we're trying to move past that, whether we find a different role for somebody or they're going to come back into their old role in the department. We are still continuing to receive and review applications, and we're going to do so for the next 2 weeks until the end of June. We're going to schedule interviews. This is for operational people in July, and then schedule an onboarding process. We have, I can't even count how many applications we have right now. I think we're quickly approaching 10.
For operational people or
Yes.
firefighters?
For firefighters.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So that there is quite a few folks who have expressed interest. And I've heard verbally from a few other people who have expressed interest, both in and out of the district, experienced and unexperienced. So I think that we may have a good onslaught of some new folks coming around, which is great. And the cool thing for us, and I think that is a good thing moving forward. For a long time, it sounds like there wasn't a whole lot of interest from people who live within the district to be firefighters, and we're seeing a little bit of a change in that. I would say that the applications and conversations that we've had so far, about 50% of them are people within the district.
Mhm.
So that's pretty great. That would just significantly increase our ability to respond and decrease our response times. So to here, we've also received several applications for support services volunteers. That's what I'm calling it right now, non-operational, non-firefighter volunteers. There's been a few folks that I've talked to who are interested in that. We have a few people who we're going to kick out some or applications to that are not specific for firefighters, so they can apply and move forward. But the cool thing is that we're seeing people with a bunch of different professional specialties who are coming to the district and saying, hey, I'm going to help with the professional specialty that I provide in my former or current life and bring that expertise to the district and help it move forward, whether it be HR or finance or community engagement and involvement and organization, and helping like coordinate that, essentially that support services overhead that's required to create a really good functioning fire department on both sides, the operational and the non-operational side. So we're really looking to fill out what that means as a district and move forward with it, which is really awesome. Let's see here. We have the two firefighters attending Golden Fire Academy are doing very, very well. I get annual or weekly reports from the captain who is running that academy. The quality of fire academy that those two gentlemen are going through right now is on par with, in my opinion, a career fire academy. Their captain who's running it is a captain for West Metro Fire. And they are using the burn buildings at West Metro. They are held to an exceptionally high standard of what's moving forward, and they are getting incredible training. I cannot state how impressed I am with this academy, and I hope that we can continue to move forward with our firefighters going through this experience, because it is truly top notch, and I'm really pleased with the way it looks so far. On top of that, our firefighters are entering, starting this week, live fire training evolutions. So these two firefighters in the academy were going into essentially what's going to be almost a 6-week push of them doing live fire evolutions, which again does not normally happen in a volunteer fire academy. Usually it happens over 1 or 2 weekends, and that's all they get. And our firefighters have stepped up, and our line firefighters have stepped up in a huge way to help facilitate them going through live fire. We have firefighters going every single weekend to help them. And they're also going, they're going to be in the live fire environment, which is good for them. They're facilitating training, but also receiving training at the same time, and also receiving some good leadership experience as they do so. I'm trying really hard not to cheer up, because I think this is really cool that they're doing this. And we have, I believe, 4 or 5 of our firefighters going to live fire with these guys tomorrow. And we have people every single Saturday for the next 5 weeks. Yeah, it's really incredible.
No cost to the district?
There's no cost to the district.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm really just so enthusiastically pleased about the way that that's working. Let's see here. Timberline IGA that was signed by our board was signed by the Timberline Fire Board at their last meeting, so back in May, and it was distributed to our board members. So the IGA is currently in effect. So just as a review, that IGA is for them to help us with recruitment, Golden Gate Fire specific recruitment, and then also help us with onboarding of people at no cost to the fire district, except for any kind of direct cost that comes that's outside of the FEMA money. So it's not, we've moved away from the idea of a dual recruitment idea where we're going to say Timberline and Golden Gate's logos are on one ad. We're trying to recruit together. Timberline is helping Golden Gate as Golden Gate recruit and hire and onboard. We're still looking to do things together, like an onboarding academy, essentially, that just like we send people to Golden's Academy, essentially a first step of them becoming a firefighter and getting familiar with what it means to even be an emergency responder. We'll probably go through that with Golden or with Timberline, and there'll be their new firefighters and our new firefighters together, and then we'll both do the same thing that we're doing with Golden, where we will send people to help facilitate that education for both there. So that's still in play, and I think that's a great way for us to move forward with that relationship. Planning life safety, there was one plan that was submitted to DFPC for review in the district. I have been given notice of quite a few projects that are being built within the district in the last month. I think there's been a little bit of uptick in construction within the district, whether it be additions and or new builds of homes. We get automatic notifications from the county every time somebody files, basically notice they're going to build, and they start that process. We don't really start getting involved until they actually file their plans, and then they have to go through their sprinkler review, a home sprinkler review. There's been a little bit of a question about that, and there's one thing I really want to clarify. Home sprinklers, for anyone who's curious, are not something that's going to prevent a home from burning down. They're not designed for wildland fire. They are only the home sprinklers that we encourage people to have installed are purely for life safety. They're designed to help somebody get out of a burning building, and that is it. It's not essentially a full protection, a substitute for the fire department. It is to really help people keep their corridors to exits in their home safe for them to get out. And so those people who are building to that standard, they submit that to the fire department, and we submit that to the state for review through their inspectors. And then the state works with us and with them to move forward with them and approve those plans with the county. So just in general, I just want to make sure that we kind of make sure that message is being heard, because I've heard quite a few people like, well, why do we need sprinklers? Our home in a wildland urban interface is going to burn down. And it's like, the sprinklers on the inside, and it's, not that much water. It's just enough to help you get out. That's it. Let's see here. I'm working with we're going to work with the DFPC Prevention Division to look at next steps, make sure we are covering all of our bases and providing the best path for our citizens and easiest path and kind of amicable path to work forward, people who are building in the district, remodeling the district, to make sure that we're being streamlined. It's definitely come to my attention that prior to now, there's been multiple different ways that people have submitted plans to the district and gone through review processes. And I want to make sure that that's very clear and transparent moving forward.
What does that stand for?
Division of Fire Prevention and Control. That's the state fire entity. So that it's very clear how we do that moving forward, and we keep that as streamlined as possible. It's definitely important that we engage with those folks that are doing those, building new homes. But we also, like I said, I want to make sure that it's, we had people, I think when I first got here, there's somebody who didn't know how to submit plans and literally left plans on the doorstep of Station 2. And they sat there for a while because nobody knew what they were. And we want to make sure that doesn't happen again. So we're trying to make sure that as we move forward, that's clear and transparent. As you may have seen outside, the graphics package for Command 81, which is the truck that I currently drive, and Rescue 82 were installed this last weekend. They are beautiful. As far as fire trucks go, they are striking. I'm really proud about the way that they look. Sam Patton did a great job facilitating that. Apologies. But they're really great. I followed Lieutenant Phillips took Rescue 82 down last night and today to go get its emissions and plates finally done on that truck, because now we're going to put it into service. And I followed it down in the dark, and the way that the person did the graphics is really special because they're all reflective. So in the dark, even if we have no lights on, those trucks are super visible. And it's just cool to see it kind of carved down the canyon and see the red flashing, even though there's no lights on. It was awesome. I was really proud. It was a cool moment. The donated radios, both the mobile and the mobiles that go in the truck and the handhelds, are the Jeff Radio Shop. This is a big one for tuning and programming. We, over the last month, established a relationship with Jefferson County Radio Shop, which services Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. Who's offered a partner in now into the future with Golden Gate Fire Protection District to complete both programming and tuning for our radios moving forward. This is a significant cost savings for the department, as each tuning and programming of the radio can cost upwards of $150 per radio. So as we try to go forward and revamp our communications infrastructure for the fire department, this is a gigantic cost savings for us, and it is really great. So that's a good thing for us. We are still waiting on this to happen before we can have those mobiles installed on the radio or in the truck. I am looking for alternatives to the installation quote that we originally got for those trucks for the radios from a third-party vendor, just because they were really expensive. We may still have to go through with that. It's a really important process to make sure that those are done correctly, or it'll fry the electronics on the truck. But I've looked at a couple different vendors to try to find somebody else to do an install, or at least we have multiple different options.
Are you keeping a running tally of these in-kind donations and things so we can say, okay, at the end of the year, hey, we got thousands of dollars worth of radios, like, do we have like a ledger of that?
Yeah, we can. And Chris and I have talked about what this looks like as far as capital for the fire department, because obviously we brought in quite a lot of capital asset into the fire department over the last couple of months that need to be reflected on the balance or on the balance sheet, and how that looks, all the way up through insurance for the department. So we are working on kind of trying to keep track of all that. And I think as we move forward with the financial revamp of the department, that's something that we're definitely going to be keeping track of, because it really does have impacts all the way from what we actually report to DOLA and to the state for our balance sheets, as well as what is required for us for our insurance coverages. Let's see here. Another huge big one. This one will hopefully. Yeah, the Golden Gate Auxiliary approved a purchase of $10,000 for backcountry rescue equipment for local vendor Harkin Equipment. This was the list of equipment that was created by the firefighters to equip Rescue 82. And a huge thank you also to Harkin Equipment, which is not a new company, but a company that's relocated to Arvada and built a giant training center. They specialize in backcountry rescue equipment. And they went way out of their way to find us just this great, like essentially military pricing on this gear that would normally not be available to us at the pricing tier that we look at. We legitimately equipped an entire tech rescue group, team, truck for under $10,000, which is completely unheard of, including like mechanical winching systems and all kinds of stuff. And it's all brand new. Chris. He's making fun of me because my face looks happy.
I told Kyle that his face on screen when he's sharing good news, it is clear that he's excited and it shows. So it's good.
The other great thing about Harkin is that they have offered to help us with training on the new equipment when it arrives at their new training center. And I believe that's going to also be free of cost. So we'll get the equipment. We'll be able to go down there and train with the reps and the professionals on the best use and implementation. And because they're local, a lot of them may be able to help us here as far as, the best implementation. The other cool thing about Harkin and that group is that quite a few of those folks actually are on the Alpine Rescue Team, which is our backup technical rescue group, and may help us facilitate interagency, workings with that department as well as we move forward. So that's a really great thing. Let's see here. Communications Portal Authority project, or the Portal Authority project manager has been assigned to our new website development, and the project is officially underway as of last week. I met with them on Monday. And we are moving forward. Becca Cossey, who is going to be our digital information manager and website manager moving forward, are going to attend a 2-part training with the Portal Authority in the coming weeks on how to build that website. Essentially what they do is give you all the tools. They give you some oversight management of how to do it, and then they let us build it. So Becca is going to be the one that actually builds the website. That's what she does. And then I'm going to be able to go in there and see kind of what's happening. I cannot, I've built websites before, but she's definitely the expert. So I'm going to let her drive and me be able to, look and be like, this looks awesome. Good job. Keep going.
Is there a grant to cover her?
And she's currently volunteering her time.
Wasn't there some grant that was showing up and we were going to apply for?
Yeah, so it actually just went live.
Okay.
And I reviewed it. So we can apply for it. There are also some other technological communications things that we can apply for with that grant. whether we want to look at a community-based spot weather, fire weather program that we basically base the stations and broadcast onto that website, all the way up to, you know, if we wanted to do security video surveil or video at all the stations that looked at the doors, so people can say, hey, I hear a call. Are the firefighters going on a call? We get on the website and see firefighters leaving. You know, all kinds of, you know, different integrations as far as public facing technology goes that we can apply for with that grant. So there's some
Do
cool.
we know
opportunities there.
whatever happened to the cameras that the fire chief purchased?
Oh, I don't know. I have not seen any cameras.
Okay, I was just. curious.
Good question.
I will look and see, but I have not seen
That'd be
any.
an great I mean, I don't know. We supposedly bought cameras for all of the stations for security, and then
Right.
we were supposed to get them installed, and I just never.
Yeah, we
just seem to
slowed down on the
disappear.
installation because he wanted his company to do it, and we said that would be a no-no, so that's where it stopped.
Okay, I will look into that. I have not seen, I believe during the 81 clean out, we didn't see them. So I will keep an eye out.
Stashed somewhere in building 82.
Maybe I'll take a look. At some point, I like not to get to the side. I do think that that is a good idea to moving forward. Even if we did something similar, something like along with like a ring doorbell even, where somebody, you know, we have all these unmanned stations, and I like the idea of someone being able to come up to any of the stations, press a button and be able to talk to a firefighter, or talk to me. Just like it's if someone was there. So I think that's, you know, in general, that's something that just kind of spurred me a little bit on that one. So back to what we were talking about. Mission and vision, 3-month horizon. So we're still looking at doing the station cleanups as we talked about. And then following that with the mission vision value meetings to kind of revamp the mission vision value that hasn't been looked at for a while, and try to update that, and also, you know, the logoing and messaging around it. Chief 81 truck is essentially done except for the radios. I was able to look at the installation of the tablet computer, which may need some updates to it today, and get that actually installed on that truck. And then Rescue 82, as the equipment comes in, we will be building that truck out as well. Operational plan review, members interviewing and onboarding, both non-operational and operational. Continued implementation of the support services volunteers. And then also, as we spoke about, we're looking at diversifying operational volunteer roles. So folks that just want to do EMS, tech rescue, we built those job descriptions. So as we move forward into the future with recruiting, that if somebody really wants to come in and specialize and silo themselves into one thing and really be that expert in that one thing, or be the community responder for XYZ, that they're going to be able to do that instead of having to be like, I have to go do all of these things, but I don't really have time to do this. And really don't exclude those people as we move forward. 6-month horizon, we don't need to really go through this. It's all kind of the same with the draft budgets. The only thing that's additional in there. And that should be pretty much it. Any questions?
Questions, board? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome as always. Community organization reports. Who wants to go first? Mary,
Actually,
auxiliary.
auxiliary would go first, and Dee Dee's going to give the comments today. Oh,
Oh,
I said, oh, I don't have to talk.
surprise.
Okay, so Dee Dee Ramstetter.
Hold on. Can everyone online? Can you hear Dee Dee?
It might be nice if they could step a little closer to the front.
You're not gonna be on the camera.
Dee Dee
Dee Dee, is it?
Ramstetter with auxiliary. So like the chief said, we had helped outfit the rescue truck for 82. It was actually $11,000.
That's why we changed it.
And we have the pig roast coming up on 9/23 of 2023. We do need all hands on deck. We're encouraging firefighters and board members to show up, help serve food, let your little cute faces be known into the public. And there'll be a timeline that will come out for you when you need to be here and all that good stuff. We're still accepting donations for goods for our auxiliary, and you can reach out to Susan Gentry for those. Other than that, you will have signs in your firehouse. Deb, I think you
I
might have
dropped it
got
off
to
today
station
before
1
the
already.
meeting.
Station 2 is in my truck, so I'll bring that over tomorrow, just so those guys see that little roasting pig and know in their head to remember that date in their calendar. So that's all I have.
Mary?
That's it. That's what we need to tell them.
So really, we have a community event for the fire department every single month from now through September.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Range,
Yeah.
Terry?
Terry Costelia here for the Grange. The hydration event was a huge success, 32 cases of Gatorade and then 38 cases of water. We'll be distributing that at your business meeting next week. Thank the community. The road cleanup was real good. On the canyon, we actually expanded and went up a little bit up further on Golden Gate Canyon above Crawford Gulch. And I think we're going to be doing that more next year. And let me see, also on the auxiliary piece, thank you auxiliary for providing food at the Station 81 cleanup. Subways, Munchies, great snacks. Val and Carol helped us with that on that day, and it was a good turnout. Thank you, Chief, for doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? No? All righty, moving on to old business. We have ballot aid, Mr. Primer discussion.
Alrighty, it's ballot aid thing. It's really not doing away with the ballot aid. We want to try to get the people of the district to vote to raise taxes rather than just having 5 people vote to raise taxes on the fire department, fire district. So I've been in contact with Cynthia Roser. We have voted to put this on the May for the fall election. So we just have to move forward on getting it on board on the ballot, and we have to get a DEO to handle it for us. And I've talked to the circuit rider people, and they can come on board and help us with it and do it.
It's Sarah Shepherd that did our,
Sarah Shepherd. At what cost, we do not know at this time. I sent all the information I had to everybody on the board. Other than that, it would just be a simple language that Steve had gotten from the circuit rider lawyers people. I believe I sent it to everybody. And it'd just be a question, should 5 people be able to raise taxes, or should the district be able to vote on raising taxes?
Did you just send that? I didn't get it.
I didn't.
I don't think we had your address. Everybody else was sent to us.
Okay, that you realize there, oh, go ahead, Susan Dentry, you wanted to say something?
I wanted to ask, did we originally vote for ballot A? Where did, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So if the community voted on ballot A, we've already voted on it.
Well, yeah,
So
we're
I
not
don't
doing the rest of validate. We're just overriding it so that
You wanna-
people of the community can vote to raise taxes on the fire department, not the county taxes, nothing to do with validate.
Well, yeah, you're looking to rescind ballot A.
No, we're not rescinding validate.
So you want a whole new ballot?
It's just a ballot, just a mandate that you have, it's actually a mandate, it's already in our bylaws for the district that we have to have a vote to have the raise taxes. This is just a mandate that you follow through with it and not change it. So
Can I ask something?
people of the district can vote for either yay or nay.
Didn't the board already pass, I don't know if you call it a resolution, pass something that said this fire board would not vote to raise taxes on their own?
Yes.
So
We did.
why would, I mean, does one cancel out the other?
This board won't always be here.
Well, we
I
had,
know I said this board.
Well, this is a new board now, so it's.
yeah, the motion was made by the former board that board would not use ballot A. But we could make a motion that this new board wouldn't do it. Is, a resolution would probably be something stronger. And then we wouldn't have to do the cost of a ballot. But
Right, so if y'all voted that you weren't gonna do it and it was signed in the minutes or whatever all this official stuff is. Right, So what is the cost? So right now, Dave, you say you don't know what the cost is right now. They haven't said what the cost would be to put this on November's ballot?
Well, by piggybacking on with the county, it's gonna be a lot less than if we did it on our own in the May election.
And then isn't there a lot of steps to go through to
That's why we're starting now.
alert the public and meetings and
Carrie, Carrie?
I just want to make sure it's very clear. Ballot A was to offset taxes, not to raise it. Very clear on that. That's how it's worded. Offset taxes, not raise taxes.
All right, what's the difference? If you have to offset it, you gotta ask for more money, right?
I don't understand why, if the community already voted in favor of doing that, why we're questioning what they voted for. Now you're asking them to change their mind and spend $10,000 or whatever.
The ballot issue A was a statewide mandate.
No,
No.
just, no.
No.
It was local.
No,
The district.
It was a
It's a district.
district mandate, not a statewide.
Well, it went statewide because all the departments.
Everybody did, everybody.
This district voted,
This district voted in favor of doing it, and now you're asking this district to change its mind, and it seems to me it was a very reasonable ballot. I don't understand the conflict here. We voted to do this, and so far we haven't done it, so, and even if we did do it, I don't understand. I remember last time when we voted on a raise in the, whatever it's
Mill
called.
levy.
Mill levy.
levy.
The mill levy, it would have cost every resident approximately $10 a month. And I was appalled that people would not spend $10 a month to support their volunteer fire department. And I do not understand this issue. If the public has already voted yes to support our fire department, why you are trying to squash that. I find it totally ridiculous.
Jerry?
We find it ridiculous. We think it's a good way to go, so we have a choice in what our taxes are gonna be.
I've raised my hand.
We already. made
Sorry, Chris, I got you pointed away. So you can.
So Terry's had her hand up.
That's
for a
okay.
Yeah,
while.
Terry.
Yeah,
Terry?
This is all good. I think Susan brought up an excellent point. I don't understand. That is the point with this whole bit, is that we haven't had education. We haven't had research done. We haven't had public comment and input put into this. This is just a bunch of speculation. Nothing is in writing. We have, there has to be some due diligence before we even consider spending money on a ballot.
So, yeah.
We've already voted, to put it on the.
Yeah, but
Yes,
it has to be legally vetted. The wording, there has to be a resolution that the board passes to put it on, just like if you study up what they did the last time.
You gotta do the work, Dave. You gotta do the work. Because you got, where's your educational need at the range? Where's your postcard? Where's your numbers?
That's why we're starting early.
Okay, and
If I
you
could-
will get,
Gotta get
Yeah,
started
you will-
early so we can get this in process.
you'll get the citizens to do this though, because the board can't be out
Yeah.
supporting a ballot initiative. That's not our job. We can't do that. So you're gonna have to get people to do that.
That's what I said. I need-
Okay,
that's
I
why-
just want to make sure you
That's
understand.
why we're getting the DEO to get this handled.
Right,
So
there you go.
I'm
If I
not-
can make I'd like to make some comments on ballot A as a community member.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. First off, the whole concept of ballot A and putting it to election is a very huge problem in my eyes. Number one, putting ballot A to an election to repeal could go one of two ways. The repeal could pass or it could fail. If it passes and ballot A is repealed, then 50% of the district that voted for ballot A is going to rise up and demand that the board then do some other election to fix it. If it fails, are we just going to be right here in this same cycle of spending a lot of money to correct something that had happened in the past? I think the best process forward is for the board to handle ballot A with an internal resolution. I believe there is not a single member that sits on this board right now that would vote to enact ballot A in the event that revenue were to decrease. Therefore, this board, 3 members that will be seated for the next 2 years, 2 members that will be seated for the next 3 years, could pass a resolution to completely ignore ballot A. And if you vote on a resolution to ignore it, you're not going to change your mind in a couple of years. The public, the community has the ability to elect board members to represent their interests. So if I elect a board member to represent my interests and that board member believes that ballot A should be used, I've elected, I've voted, I've had a voice. And so I can vet my future publicly elected officials and their stance on ballot A. Spending $8,000, which is what we were told in January, would cost to add ballot A to a November election. Look at your 2023 budget. $8,000 is our budgeted spend for PPE. You want to waste community money by spending equally the amount of money that you want to spend on the firefighters that will stand in front of your house and prevent it from burning down? $9,000 in firefighter incentives. We want to reward our firefighters for about the same amount of money that we want to throw away on a ballot initiative that will get this board nowhere. $4,500 is budgeted to repair our dilapidated fire stations. We want to spend double that on a ballot initiative that means nothing. I hope that this board and any board member that would vote on anything that would spend money on any future ballot A resolution would look at where we're spending money and just make better decisions. Thank you.
I have a couple of questions for you, Dave.
Okay, may not know anything.
Okay, well, first off, you're saying that the DEO would be whatever that company's name is, Sarah Shepherd. But then you said it would save us money if we went with a shared ballot with the county. I believe you said that.
Yes, that's, yeah.
But I don't think you can do both. I think the regulations say that you either do a shared ballot and the county person who is in charge of constructing that shared ballot is the DEO. It's not an independent ballot. It's merged with all the other county issues. So it makes the whole process more complicated than having our own separate ballot, I think. So I guess my question is, well, which is it? Are we going with Sarah Shepherd and an independent ballot? Are we going with the county? You
gotta have a DEO, so it's either gonna be a volunteer or someone that can do it, or you hire the company that does this on a regular basis, and then they will work as the DEO to get it on the ballot with the county. So you share your printing and every cost with the county. You won't be paying for the whole mailing and everything. The county will do almost all the work except for the wording and getting it and put it on the county ballot that comes out to you, or the state ballot that comes out to everybody.
In that case, would everybody in Jefferson County be able to vote on our ballot?
No, and it gets
goes out to the district people. They isolate it to the people.
so it increases the cost of printing the ballots because all of the county has all these different issues they're voting on. And so they have to print up different sets of ballots for each district and each part of the county and whoever's, voting. So our ballot might have, I don't know, a county commissioner or two on it and a and our ballot A question, and somebody else would have a water district question. So it increases the cost of printing the ballots. Question, does this involve anything having to do with Tabor?
Well, it's kind of what Tabor did years ago. But
So it-
raise taxes on to the people.
So what I'm saying is, it sounds like it's a,
Yeah.
well, it sounds like it's, is it substituting for Tabor? Because Tabor says, the district boards have the right to raise taxes as long as it stays underneath a 5.5% increase year by year.
Yeah.
So this would override Tabor. Because that's what Tabor says, is that it's okay for the if I understood my class correctly last Saturday.
We all heard. that,
I think that's what I heard, is that,
state statute.
is that
But our
state
bylaws do restrict the. board.
and our bylaws restrict the board further. So why do we need a third thing restricting us? That's, it,
Because we could change the bylaws.
Well, we're not going to. I mean, are you gonna change? them?
Well. we
and then
might-
somebody
going
can
to.
change them back.
But I'm saying we, then this board may not do it, but the next board could do
Well,
it.
then let them deal with it.
No, I'm sorry, I'm like really, like, I'm trying to just. I will put it on, if you do all the work, because you said you're not gonna do it. Which I found was interesting, like, if this is the crusade that you and Steve have, you guys have to do the work. And like, if you get the language, I'll vote to put it on the ballot, because I promised that I would do that. I still maintain that we have wasted so much time talking about a thing that none of us are going to use.
We're not gonna use it. I know.
And I'm trying to be patient and respectful, but I'm just like, none of us are gonna use this thing. So why are we like beating our
So
heads?
can this
against the wall?
board vote and put something in the minutes?
I mean, I mean,
that-
that this board not use ballot A for the duration of our time and all.
No, that is their board. So make a new.
We can do
I
that.
just made a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Well, that was a motion, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Well, I moved that we not, this board not use ballot A for the duration of our term in office. And I got a second from Deb.
Mhm.
Do people need to discuss it, or can we vote on it?
Any discussion, board? All in favor of this board not using ballot A for the term of their office? In favor, aye.
Aye.
Dave,
I'll go for that.
okay, so we've got it passed.
Can we continue that to the future boards?
Well, I mean, again, it comes back to like, if the future board does something you don't like, you vote them out. You can recall people, you can vote new people into office. There's a reason I'm on this board, is because people wanted new people on the board. There's like, if you want to raise the taxes or lower the taxes, we can always put that to a vote. If, like, we're all neighbors, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's like.
And then again, when you're voting people within your community, most people know your ethic and that's why you get voted in by the community.
I'm not voting to raise taxes on myself or my neighbors. Like, I don't know who's doing that. I'm just going for now.
For now,
No, because, well, I mean,
yeah.
so,
I'm tired of it too.
Very good.
but it sounds like you are asking permission for Sarah Shepherd to construct language. I haven't seen the language, so I'm not gonna say anything about
The
it.
lawyer has to construct the language.
So, but in order for you and Steve to form this coalition and move forward to press this issue onto the ballot in November, we have to have the language vetted by a lawyer.
Well, yeah, that's why we're starting early, so we can get that
And then
done.
does that cost-
So nothing can be done tonight, is what I'm
Nothing can be
saying.
done.
We're just discussing.
Right.
Okay.
Nothing can be done until I get permission to move forward and hire the DEO and get it rolling.
So
That's the cart before the horse, though. You need to,
If in the language ready.
you gotta get the language right. You gotta get the public.
But
input
I gotta
and
have,
input.
I gotta have the funds to say, go ahead to do it. I can't do it on my own. Then we gotta fill out this paper.
Well, I mean, I looked with Sam Patton, they had it
They had a
put up
resolution.
on their own.
They did.
before
Yes, they did.
They formed a coalition and we all donated to that for the language. There were a trifold and a postcard that was sent out. We also had a public meeting here at the Grange. Then once that was done, then the language was formed once you got the feedback from the community.
So
So
this
there-
was public funding.
yeah,
I
this
mean,
was
private.
private
Private
coalition,
funding.
coalition
Right.
funded. Okay, so a lot of people, I actually asked people in this community to donate to that coalition. So that's the legwork that has to be done before you can even engage with these other people and cost the district dollars.
If I could just, I'd like to just ask one clarifying question and then I have an offer to the board. I believe I heard that there was a motion that the current board would not use ballot A. That was seconded. It passed 4 yay and 1 absent, no vote. I have a coalition of individuals that would gladly write a resolution that this board could review at the next board meeting to adopt formally and post publicly that the current board will not use ballot A while seated. Could I do that and present it to the board with a coalition of other community members that are interested in seeing that happen?
That was a motion, not a resolution.
Oh,
He's talking a formal resolution, which is stronger than a motion.
Okay.
Okay,
All right,
sure.
we'll move on. There's a chance I can see my daughter before she goes to sleep.
Okay. All right. We're gonna move on, Chris. I think that if you want to put something together,
With the board's permission, we'll piece something together and present it to the board to consider. Thank
Sure.
you.
why not? Email communication policy, Dave, is that correct that you want to discuss this or you wanted the website? It wasn't the communication policy.
No, I think-
Oh, my goodness.
And,
All day, every day.
Dave?
It's like 10 a.m. this morning.
Communications,
Did you request that we discuss the email communication policy again?
Here, was that what you wanted to talk?
Or
about?
did I misunderstand you and you wanted the website?
the website communication thing, and we're
So
all
you-
the
this
same,
is-
all the same power up here. We all have the same authority. I think we all should be able to
Nope,
have access to this website and put things on there. And
the board will has the power to present things to the webmaster, Dave. You can't jump on the website and post anything you want. Nobody can do that.
We need to.
Nobody can do that.
Contact her to do that.
Well, once she's in place, you'll have the ability to do that. The website is an extension of the government.
Yes.
It's not a Facebook. It's not for posting opinions or anything else.
Or communication thing.
It's for official, Dave, it's for official district business notices. So if you have a notice that you want published on the website, it comes to the board and that's when it's decided that it's something that needs to be posted. Okay,
Right. and,
Okay.
We want the procedure to do that.
and we'll have one, but we're in the process of changing over.
Okay. I'll make sure we get that.
The only thing we put on the website are
Yeah,
agenda minutes, the reports.
and notices, that's the only thing.
So
Articles that are of interest about fire safety, things like that.
Well, we did put the poll on there.
Yes, the survey was on
we voted
there.
as a board to put
Yeah,
that.
true, yes.
That's true. We did.
Yes, right. Thank you, Mary.
So,
Okay, you clear? Can we move on or is that okay, Dave?
Well, I'll wait and see what happens because I keep getting left out on a lot of things.
Do you understand what goes on the website?
Oh, I read the website. I understand.
Okay. Okay. I just want, I want to make sure you understand that it's not an open forum. Okay,
I I run 3 businesses. I don't know. them.
Okay, then you understand. We are gonna move on to the election of officers. I will open up the floor to nominations.
For any officer or for particular ones?
For a particular one, let's go with secretary first.
You want to be the secretary?
Well, I would nominate Meredith if she's willing.
I will accept.
Okay, anybody else want to entertain being secretary? Make a motion, or is it just, we don't even need a motion?
Unanimous consent?
Unanimous, okay, thank you. Thank you, Meredith, thank you. Treasurer. Niffy? I know you don't, but
I will be the treasurer if I can delegate everything to Chris Creech.
yeah. Right, so anybody else want to be treasurer? Okay. Niffy,
Yes, I'm the treasurer.
you are.
I nominate,
We have
I nominate Hippie.
okay. And by unanimous consent, it is Nippy. And furthermore, vice president,
Vice president.
okay, Nippy. Anybody else? Unanimous. Thank you. And there's one, okay. Anybody else want to be president? Please. Okay. We've got our officers. We have our secretary as Meredith, our vice president treasurer as Niffy, and moi as president again. All right.
Thank you. Well
It's
done.
Steve wanted to do it? Steve didn't want
I thought we
No.
stepped down.
No. The next item on the agenda is the transition of the treasurer. Chris Creech has offered to continue to do the bookkeeping kinds of things. And I believe he and Kyle are going to work on some sort of a formal job description sort of thing that the board could okay that he, yes, approve him as like a consultant to the treasurer.
We
Okay,
probably want to make something formal
yes.
because it's, government funds and having something. Yeah. So
So
Yeah, well,
the
Kyle-
plan currently is that he's creating a job, we'll have a job description probably as the administrative assistant of the fire chief.
okay.
Part of that, part of the job, part of the job description tasks or one of the job responsibilities is bookkeeping.
Okay.
And so that's, I think realistically, that's probably one of the main one, and looking for like creating like, again, that future financial plan forecasting, a lot of it's financial, almost like, I guess I would call it financial officer type things, but that's underneath would be, he'd be my direct report. But still could be delegated tasks by the board. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So he'd still be my, like underneath me, but with the delegations through me to him.
Yep.
Okay, Chris, are you, that's kind of what you and I had talked about. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. And yes,
All
Nippy,
right.
I'll do everything and forward all information to you.
No worries. We talked about the website posting, I think to your satisfaction, Dave. Public comment. And we're drawing to a close here. Anybody?
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Mary?
I have two things. I want to say that I definitely agree that it is a waste of our very hard work earned money to have this ballot A thing be done, because it is not something that we, the public, would ever allow our board to do. The people we're going to choose who are to be on the board are the people who are interested in keeping control of where our taxes go. So I just want another public statement about that. And the other is very much board members for being willing to step up and take care of our community.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I second that. I'm very pleased with what I've heard tonight. And thank you so much. It's a big responsibility. And we really appreciate all of you and our new chief.
Mr. Smiley.
Yeah. So thank you very
And
much.
thank the auxiliary.
Yes.
You
thank
guys
for the
are
auxiliary.
awesome. Dee Dee, did you want to speak?
I'll
Okay.
triple it, what they said. Thank you for all of you for your volunteer time. You are volunteers and you are our neighbors, and we are very grateful for you for this. Thank you.
All right.
John Scarf from the Mountaineer newspaper.
Okay, who is this?
Go ahead, John.
John Scarf with the Mountaineer newspaper.
Oh, yes.
I have a point of order.
Go ahead.
I did not understand whether the motion to cancel the ballot initiative was approved. I know there was a motion on the floor, but I didn't hear whether it was approved.
John, the motion on the floor was that this board would not use the ballot A as it stands now for our term, which is 2 years, until new board members are appointed. And that passed 4 to 1. Four. It passed by 4 votes of those present. There's 1 board member not present.
Thank
Does
you
that
so much.
clarify it?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
thank you. And thank you for attending the meeting.
Yes.
We appreciate
pleasure.
your paper.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Next regular board meeting is July 20th at 7 PM at Station 81, the cleaned up pristine Station 81 on Robinson Hill Road. And I'll make a motion for adjournment.
Second?
All in favor? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all.
20 minutes, what's wrong?
God.